Saturday's happening. Hype us up on the show and give a nice parting word for Joe Alonzo.
Well, I'm really trying to be nice here. Joe Alonzo, great kid. I've done some homework, great work ethic, really tries hard. He wants to give it. He's in a similar situation that I was in when I was a little bit younger. And I looked up to people like Ric Flair or Mr. Perfect. And I was like, man, I want to be just like those guys. But when I was a kid, I didn't get to tell them. He got to tell me, and now I'm in his head. Now I'm going to own him. Now I'm going to do anything I want in front of him. And he's going to sit there and he's going to, in between applauding for me, get kicked in the face. So what I want everyone to do is, I know you might not be rooting for him. You're probably rooting for me because I'm much more famous than him, and I totally understand, and I always will be. But what I want him to do is give his absolute best. So when my hand gets raised and everybody realizes how damn good I am still, then I'll be like, kid, you tried really hard. So you're going to get some kind of whatever, 2025. I was there. Technically, you get a little medal that says I was a participant. I was for 22 minutes. I was the second best wrestler in the world. All this great stuff. The show's going to rock. I give 110%. I know Alonzo wants to give everything he's got, and he will. And that's what's going to make this match the baddest ass thing on the card. And then we'll take it home.
The Most Wanted Man. I guess another wrestling sub name that I enjoyed. Nic Nemeth is here on the program. Thanks so much for joining in.
Yeah, for sure. And now, a lot of people say the Most Wanted Man, and that's not technically it. So Most Wanted Man is fine to say, but I only own the trademark to the Wanted Man.
Okay.
People want to say Most Wanted. I completely agree and understand that, of course, that would be the Most Wanted. But the Wanted Man is something that I pieced together, not just from a rap song, which is the main inspiration, but also being wanted and pulled to different companies and all over the world, and it all kind of just fit. So, yes.
Yeah. You've had a long career, and before we even delve into the wrestling stuff, we heard the news of Ozzy Osbourne passing, like probably the biggest music icon in pretty much generations of fans out there. Whether it's a song that you enjoyed or if you've seen a performance, whether it's in Black Sabbath or Ozzy, what makes Ozzy Osbourne such a very iconic artist in your eyes?
I mean, in my eyes, the best part is when you become so big, you're bigger than just the rock and roll or the music. But let's start at the beginning. Black Sabbath is something much like pro wrestling that my Uncle Michael got me into very young, way too young. Like, he got me, like, you're not supposed to like Ric Flair until you're 20 or 30 and you're putting the shades on and wearing a suit. You're supposed to like Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, all that kind of stuff. So he got me into Ric Flair, showing me beta tapes. And also, old Black Sabbath records, because, most people are born in the 2000s that are probably watching this and don't understand that. It's like a really big CD, but it sounds really probably crappy to you, but sounds really cool. Like, it's like the audio of a drive-in movie to everybody else. And it's so grumbly and grindy that it makes Black Sabbath sound even more Black Sabbath-y, which makes it really awesome. Ozzy has become like how Snoop Dogg was like, yeah, you're really famous for rap, but now you're just everywhere all over the world and like beloved by so many people. And he became like, they had that reality show. So many people forgot it. Like, that was like a huge thing for MTV, but I don't care about that stuff. I was very lucky to be into Black Sabbath young. Ozzy, just so cool. Just like no rules, doing what you want and doing what you love and living a life fuller than so many, like times 10 than any of us will ever live. And having that big farewell final concert surrounded by all his friends, well-wishers, bands that were inspired by him, family, everybody, and giving a performance that we all would have applauded and said was good if it was bad because it's his final show. But it was great. It was so great. And I was on the road traveling, and my uncle was taping it. And I was going to watch it when I got back home. I'm getting chills talking about it. It's like, it's crazy to me.
Okay.
Like, they're showing all these clips and it's so cool. And a 15-second clip of my mom coming home on his last set is like,
no.
You're like,
okay.
And he's still alive. This is 3 weeks ago. He's still alive. And it's just like, this is the last time he's doing this. And it's just such a beautiful moment. And it's so sad and awesome and rock and roll, but like heartbreaking and wrenching. And it's I 15 different times. I stopped clicking on the clip because I'm like, if I start crying at this wrestling show, I cried once in 4th grade when I got an A minus, and then like now, and I was like, all right. It was just, it's so many people don't get to choose how you live your life and how you go out, and he did it, and got to have that moment, that beautiful moment where everybody got to pay their respects all over the world and in person. And then maybe that was just, you're so filled with like light and joy that you're like, this is it. And then you just go lay down, and then one day, and then that's it. And I'm so glad he got to have that moment to know, like, it's really easy for people to say, hey, I'm your biggest fan. People hear that all the time. And you could be a TikToker that unboxes ice cream, or you could be Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, the Osbournes on MTV, and 50 more years of everything else. And it's just something that like crosses over rock and roll and goes into not just pop culture, but like this beautiful person in everyone's eyes one way or another. And having that moment, I'm so glad he got that. And it could have been, he could have put in a bad performance and been hanging on, and we've seen that before. And we would have been like, hey, a little golf clap, thank you for that. But he went out sounding good, fighting all Parkinson's, kicking ass, and I just absolute legend, icon. So many people are inspired by him. And now my favorite part, when the internet gets together, not to railroad somebody off for saying the wrong word. This is everybody comes together to go, here's our favorite clips of Ozzy. And you get that famous insert shot of him like pouring the orange juice. Yeah. And you get all these clips from the Osbournes. I've been sending so many things out to my uncle and friends today. Like, that's the positive part of the internet, when everyone gets to like, hey, this guy was beloved by so many different groups of people that we all just get to like, here's my favorite one. And you get to see 1,000 of them. And it really lets you celebrate the day instead of like being down about it,
What was a track that resonated with you from him?
So a few minutes ago, somebody asked me the same thing. I was posting a wrestling show. Seriously, I was posting a wrestling show, and someone's like, hey, man. And I posted the Ozzy clip. It's him on Conan, just walking around at Conan, like just doing a funny bit, just walking around to everybody backstage, and the camera followed him around. And they go, hey, man, you got any favorite Ozzy songs? And I go, well, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Black Sabbath. I'm more, as much as I love everything, Black Sabbath than Ozzy stuff, but he has so many hits by himself with Black Sabbath. But also, one of my favorite slower songs, is I Ain't No Nice Guy After All, which is him and Lemmy, and it's Motorhead. And it's another slow one, and it's beautiful. And I always like to take it down because I'm just listening to metal and rock most of the time. You take it down a notch, and also for a while, I even had like heel on my trunks to let everybody know I'm a bad guy for 18 of the 22 years I've been wrestling. Okay. And I Ain't No Nice Guy After All is such a great song. And it's Lemmy and Ozzy, and it's beautiful. And that's another one that's like, I played it today, and I was like, man, I better. It was like, Mama, I'm coming home. I better turn it off, put something else on. So went to Nativity in Black and rocked out instead of getting soft about it.
Because I think, especially with Ozzy, because you're right, it transcends just music. Because I remember his appearance in WWE, because that's something that you never expect. Because like you see like the wrestlers show every week, but to have like a music icon, of course, celebrity appearances are very spontaneous when it shows up. Like, even we can go all the way back in the 80s with Cyndi Lauper to now we have Travis Scott, who's now part of the WWE zeitgeist, and seeing where they're involved, because it's a once in a lifetime thing with Ozzy being in the WWE too.
Yeah, it really is. And again, that's another one of those times where it's like, when people, they're so successful for so many years, and then sometimes you get the ones that are like playing, and there's nothing wrong, no shame in this. You're on the state fair loop, and you're like, hey, we had these 2 cool songs in the 70s or 80s, and we kind of wrote it out, and we still get to have a career, and I love that. But when he came to WWE, it was like, oh, he's got some new music. I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, is this going to be all computers and 9 Inch Nails and like, oh, and no, it was great. It's still great. And I'm like, damn it, he's still kicking ass. Like, this rules, because you never know. Like, I go, 70s, 80s, 90s, they're killing it. I'm like, it can't be all winners, even if I like them.
It's
and a
there.
lot of times you get like a new Motley Crue album like a year ago, and you're like, it's just computers talking and singing with no rhyme or reason, and you're like, what? This is just to make money, okay? And again, that's fine, because I'll still go to the show, and hopefully they'll only play 2 of those, and then go back to the stuff we like. But it's just with Ozzy, I forget what it was. Maybe it's Never Gonna Stop, or it was something. It was just newer, and I was like, "There's no way this is gonna be good," but I'll be there for it because it's Ozzy. And I was like, "Damn it, it's good." It's it was just like late 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember the song, but it was a good one. I'm like, man, this makes me so great. I don't have to like lie to my uncle, like, "Hey, he's got some new music." It's really
he was in a WWE
really
show.
He's so good. You get to go, "Oh no, it's really good. You got to check it out." Like that is very rare. And again, I got to be on one of the shows that we're on. Like how the crossovers, Greg. We got Alice Cooper from old WrestleMania. There's so many rock and roll stuff. But that is some badass stuff. When you get that crossover, not just in pop culture, but something that I'm involved in, like. That's like another, like, this is totally unrelated, but like John Lovitz was the guest host once on Raw. And I'm like, John Lovitz, that's my hero. This is the coolest thing ever. So it's like, and some people are like, from SNL, I'm like, dude, no, don't get me started. I know all this stuff. Like, he's the best. He's still so funny. I saw like a couple of months ago, and the guy, he just like gives a look, and it's funnier than people writing for an hour and talking. Like, it's so cool. When you get that crossover and you get a chance, like I get chances to meet my heroes all the time because of the business that I do. And I never take it for granted. Like there are times where I'm just like mad about travel, mad about getting delayed, missing a flight, didn't sleep. And you're like, man,
it was all worth it.
All right. I was on Raw with Ozzy. Oh, okay. Oh, John Lovitz said my joke was funny. Okay. I need nothing else in the world. Like this is the best. And it's just always getting that chat. Like I will never, ever take it for granted. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. And even if I forget for an hour, I remember it. And 61 minutes, I always remember.
We have a mutual friend, and it's my cousin, Andre, the Producing Giant. And Busted Open has been such a very good rise to now being Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. And you have a couple of shows lined up on the schedule. I got this from him. So being at 2:00 on Wednesdays with Coach, and Coach has been an unconventional figure in the wrestling industry. What was that like to know that, okay, I've worked with Coach before, but doing it on a different format?
Yeah, and what's really funny to me, there's when I was a kid, or I was really brand new in WWE, you'd hear stories about like Brett and Sean hated each other. This guy hates this guy. This guy refuses to be on a show. Stone Cold walked out. You never know who likes who and in what era, if they're okay, if they buried a hatchet. And like, I'm just randomly like, hey, you're with Coach. I was like, maybe we hated each other back when we worked together. We did not. Of course we did not. But like, actually, he was one of the people that when I was really brand new and didn't have too many people, I wasn't a legacy. I wasn't brought in with a tag team. I had Chavo to watch my back for a few weeks, and then we were done. But I was very lucky. Coach was the guy who he's the talker, so he got around. He rounded up everybody. Like, here's where we're all going to meet up after the show. I set this thing up here, and he like came up to me multiple times. I was by myself, and just like, Nick, make sure you're here. We're gonna like he would round up the party, but went out of his way to include me when he didn't have to. So
that's good.
Not only is there no hate, like it's like he was really nice to me and really kind, and it was great to watch him do it. So. And then we finally do the show, and we don't rehearse, we don't practice. We got some ideas of where we'll go with the show. And the first one flew by, and I went, "Oh my God, we have crazy chemistry! Like this is nice. that does not happen. You don't just go on a blind date and go, wow, I'm going to get married." I'm 0 for 9,000 on those, so it can't always happen. But on air with Coach and on air with Dave, I'm blown away because we could still fight through it without having the camaraderie and back and forth, but I'm very lucky to have it with them, like insanely. And like, what are the chances? 2 for 2 with Pro Wrestling Nation. I'm again very lucky.
It's fascinating because Coach has his takes and you have your takes too. How much of it really is finding commonality? And I take it because I did listen to some of the shows over on Sirius. How do you guys work each other so well? And I'm sure there will be some friction, but to go get through that show and saying, okay, we have this game plan, let's work it out together with Coach.
The cool thing is it's not that we don't want to work it out together. It's just like, hey, we have two different perspectives, just like myself and Dave. We have a totally different perspective. Dave is a hardcore fan that knows so much more than I do, but also I was in the locker room with the person we're talking about right now, and he wasn't. And like, I have that perspective. And we never try and like, it's great when we are on somewhat of the same page, because you try and that means, hopefully that means we're all going in the same positive direction. But a lot of times, I mean, the first couple of months with Dave, it was like, this was the middle of Cody's big run, and everything was about Cody. And I'm like, okay, what else does the show have? And he was like, they have all these great stories. He goes, there's all these great, WWE has so many great stories right now. I go, besides Cody, what's the other ones? And he's like, Cody's doing so great. And you're like, okay. So it's like, you have to take a perspective like, man, that story was killer. They knocked it out of the park. But then everybody assumes like, there was all these great stories that year. And it was like, there was 1.5 good ones. And sometimes that's all you need. But I had to be like, hey, listen, why is this story so good right now? Because his dad never won a championship. My dad never won the championship. Why is that not a big story? Well, I'm like, there's other factors at play here. Like, this is a cool prodigal son returns home. He's fighting to be the new Cena. There's great pieces of that, but I just wanted to bring that out of him because I get to occasionally have him just being a fanboy. And he's like, it's great because I like it. And then I get to have the perspective of, well, here's where the numbers are. Here's the shirts that are being sold. Here's the quarter hour. And you can bring in like the color commentator with the play-by-play commentator. And we just happen to make a beautiful team like that.
Because I was thinking, I think I heard your first day on the radio and suddenly Matt Cardona called. It was under Matt from Long Island. What was that like, getting surprised by Matt saying he's a caller from the show and it's Matt Cardona on the other side of the line? It
was a relief because I still am sometimes very nervous when I go on the show to be like, like I have this perspective. I'm in the middle of a career, and also there are people online who think differently. And based on week to week, they used to tell people like, why do you re-sign a contract with WWE? They just made fun of you this last 2 weeks. Right. You're like, contracts aren't 3 weeks long. When you sign a deal, sometimes it's for 5 years. And then a couple weeks in, you get made fun of, and you can't just get out of it. They have better lawyers than you do, I assure you. $1 billion is way more than I have. Well, not a lot more, but more. No, it's just a funny thing, like to have that perspective and then get a call from a friend, because I'm like, you have to be totally casual and conversational, but have also done your homework and be able to segue, but also lead a guest that gets them into a question that gets to what you want to say or what they want to say. So there's science to it. And I think 6 months ago or so, I started getting into the science of it. And you can be casual, have fun, crack some jokes, and then slide into something seamlessly. And then people go, hey, that's really well. And you're like, it's not just having fun with your buddy. There's some math involved, which makes it really cool because I like to study for that. Because I can easily say, what's the deal with this story on Raw? Like, oh, behind the scenes, they were probably told this, and here's where they went. And then this. But now I can find a way to bring that up and then have a question for Dave at the end of it, or the guest, or say, where do they go now? And there's just all these different pieces. Eddie Versilli, who brought me in, was like, would you like to talk wrestling on this show? And I go, I famously do not watch wrestling. Okay. I have made that very clear.
That's fair.
And it was mostly a joke because I hated what I was doing creatively 5 years ago. Okay. But I had to say something about it because I'd be like, hey, me and Sheamus tonight. Everyone goes, we all know you're losing. And and I'm like, and then I started just going, I don't know, I don't watch. And then I started saying, I famously do not watch wrestling. And I said it for like 5 straight years. And the best part is I also said I was phoning it in for about 5 straight years. Right. And everyone was like, Dolph, just phoning it in again. You can just tell. And I go, I made that up to see if you would agree with me. And your own biases, because I lost in a 6-minute match, mean I'm phoning in my job. I would never do that. I have way too much integrity. I love what I do, even if it's a 5-minute job. So I really like being able to put those out there. And then I just started seeing articles and fans letting me know that I was phoning it in. And I'm like, right. Everyone on this roster in a business of hardworking overachievers, I was famously known as the hardest working guy. So like, it was so fun just to see if I could switch that in the minds of internet fans and journalists who wrote things, and they just started doing it based on what I was saying instead of my work, which is pretty awesome. So it just goes to show you could just totally work everybody if you want to sometimes.
So you're basically just like throwing bait. Well, I won't say bait, but like you would lead to a question, like phoning it in and just figure out, okay, is this real or is this not? Because the way with radio shows, I listen to a lot of sports radio too, where someone would throw their take and it's like the response you won't expect after. But to have interactions with the fans from outside of the ring, how different was it to interact with fans over the phone, like in Busted?
Oh yeah, Busted. It's cool. It's weird to not see them, but you just hear them. But
yeah,
there's so many people that call in, and I'm starting to figure out the people who call all the time, and you're like, oh, I know their character, I know what they're getting at. But my favorite thing is to just answer honestly. You're just like, hey, this guy was the best champ ever. I'm like, no, he was just at the right place at the right time. Anyway, and you can be like, wait, what? And then I show my work.
Him off guard.
You show your work for it, and you go, well, actually, here's why. This guy got hurt, and then this guy refused to sign a deal, so they made this guy a champion just to make this guy jealous. And then he wasn't the best, but they were just doing it out of spite. And you're like, but it's kind of fun to have that because most people just know the internet reports or what is seen on TV other than the inside stuff. So that's the really cool thing about that Pro Wrestling Nation channel is that we have so many different perspectives. People at the beginning of their career, middle of their career, retired, fans, analysts, consultants. And it's such a huge win for everybody because there's just so many different ways to go. And we can all answer the question like really eloquently, beautifully, back it up and show work and all have different answers, which is awesome.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about Matt Cardona because I did some research and shout out to Cage Match for having this type of database. You have one championship that lasted a day, and that is the Internet Championship. What the heck? What happened there?
Someone who was at the heyday of Broski doing his YouTube show.
Okay.
When he was trying to get noticed and trying to do something special. It is now in 2025. That's not new. That's what we all do every week. But at the time, it was groundbreaking. At the time, it made him stand out, and it was amazing. And he went above and beyond to where so much. Where I don't think WWE would ever say this, but the deal when it first went to YouTube to have a YouTube channel for WWE, the deal in the paperwork said Zack Ryder's show must be on or there's no deal.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable. It was this 3-minute show getting 30,000 views or something, but it was like the beginning of that era of making things happen on your own, shooting little movies, doing shows, doing things on the outside, just in case you're in this $1 billion show and you might get 30 seconds on it. You might not be on TV, but you might be a guy who goes out there and goes, I'm the show off. I steal the show. I'm going to steal the show because I'm the show off. And you're like, and then you go have a match at Rules, but people don't know your personality. So then I got to have a part on his show, and that was really fun. And I was always trying to get him to put the internet title on the line, and he never would.
Okay.
And I would bully him. I'm like, you made up this title. You carry it everywhere. You say you're the champ, and you refuse to defend it. And finally, 15 years later, I got him to defend it.
Okay.
And I became the double champion in Australia, holding up the Australian belt and World Series of Wrestling Championship and the internet title. But of course, the next night he cheated and got it back. So for one night,
that's Matt Gord. That's Matt. That's classic Matt.
And I almost respect it. He will do whatever it takes because that championship that he invented is the most important thing in his life.
It's his baby.
He's married. He's married, and the most important thing in his life is that championship.
Wait, but he did bring the WWE tag belts too when Chelsea had. I'm like, why are you one quarter, not one half, one quarter,
one half of the tag team championship?
Yeah, whatever it takes to get your name out there. That's what it is.
Bro, he does it. And as much as we're gonna bust his balls all the time, that groundbreaking show set a precedent and switched everything up. And still to this day, he's the guy that people should be paying money monthly to take his course to figure out how to navigate this business when you're not in New York or Jacksonville.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where like there is still like how do I say this? It's almost like Matt has this system down pat when he was releasing WWE, and like it took time for him to rebrand, but to now move from the indie god to the deathmatch king to always ready to the complete, you sense where his progress is going, but people are putting him over even after WWE.
Yeah, and that's huge because it's real easy to just coast. And you can do you could do that. Hey, I'm doing the State Fair concert series for the next 50 years of my life. And I show up and they're like, hey, remember me from 15 years ago on TV? And then you do the little wave and people don't mind that your work's not that great. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. But he's not doing that. He's constantly reinventing himself, constantly. And even when he's saying it's the same character, he's redoing something. We just did Australia together for World Series Wrestling, which is an awesome tour. And he was just walking around and we're all asking him, what are we supposed to do here? What are we supposed to be doing with merchandise? What should we be doing? He goes, well, this year, none of these things are going, but these things are going. And the future is going to be metallic 8x10. And this is the way. And he's like, he is such a man child, but when it comes to that business aspect of this business, he is the guy that I go to, and I'm a grown up who treats him as a young child. And when we ride together, I ride because he'll fall asleep or be on his phone, and and I have to be like, hey, Zach, it's time to go to get to the hotel now or go to eat. Or it's so funny, but when it comes to this, he's got it down, and I will always be like, hey, what should I do here? And it's very humbling because every other aspect of this life, I am a father to son to him. Yeah. And in this case, it's the other way around. And he is the guy to talk to. He should be doing a seminar monthly, and people should and he should be giving a newsletter once a week or once a month that says, here's the future of merchandise. Here's where you need to get your career. Here's the latest app that's out that you can do something for to push for your fans to find you. There's just so many things that he knows. And it's invaluable because so many people think, oh, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. There's so many companies to work at, but there's only so many spots in those televised companies that if you want everybody else to know about you, you got to have your own YouTube channel, your own TikTok, your own series, something that we can see you. And then we know you. And every day you got to check in, or every week, and just because it's like, what have you done for us lately? And you get forgot about like that. Yeah, exactly. Because we're going to turn to you. So one thing I kind of remember is the meme of It Should Be Me. So we'll paint the picture. May 21st, 2019. You attack Kofi Kingston on that SmackDown, and you had to cut a promo in front of the fans over there. What was that like? Because everything, of course, will have its purpose and will run its course during Stomping Grounds. What was that like from you talking on the mic to the crowd who's like, what the heck? You just attacked Kofi, and you just came back from a hiatus too. Right. And that was a mandatory one that I asked for because they refused to let me take a week off for 19 years. So, or it was 14 or 15 years. And I was like, boss, I need a month off or I have to retire and come back later because I have not missed a Raw or SmackDown in 15 years. Right. And even the ones I missed for being out with an injury, I was backstage filming something on my phone saying I was at home. Like I was never, there were 2 Raws in 19 and a half years that I was kind of unable to be ready for, which is, by the way, absolutely unprecedented. No one will ever have a Cal Ripken streak like that ever again. But also, it's a blessing and a curse. If you don't tear your quad and leave for 8 months and come back, nobody can blow the roof off to see you and go, oh my God, I love that guy. I miss him so much. I was just there every week, no matter what. And I begged. I can't. Does anybody believe that I'm standing in line? Everyone's in line to go talk to Vince. I need a push. I need the title. I got to win. And I go, I got to go home. Can I go home? And it's like, and he's like, no. And then really quickly, one time, I argued, and he goes, all right, damn it. And he opened the door and told all the creative and all the writers, no one has to talk to Dolph for 3 months. He's going home. He's out. Leave him the hell alone. He's off. He's finally getting a vacation. Nobody talks to him for 3 months. 5 days later, the night before the Royal Rumble, I get a phone call at 1 a.m. from Vince. Why the fuck are you not in my Royal Rumble? And I go, boss, you
I had a day off.
You told me 4.5 days ago that no one from WWE is to contact me for 3 months, and it wasn't even the whole week back to Raw.
Oh my
you're
God.
calling me at 1 a.m. And I go, luckily I had a comedy show in the town before the night before, so I was there. So I was like, boss, if you really need me, I will absolutely be there. And I just remember walking in, and Drew McIntyre was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I go, buddy, ask the boss. I don't know. And it was just so funny that what a blessing and a curse. Like, what greatest thing ever. Never got hurt. Never missed. It was like, boss, I gotta go home, man. And so that showed up. So finally, I think it was like a month and a half or 2 months off, and then attacked Kofi, which Kofi's one of my favorite opponents, a guy I root for, one other time other than Ozzy, a little tears in the eyes when he won the big belt.
Yep.
And it was just a special moment for all of us guys who were always trying to just be, that weren't quite the Brock Lesnar types, to get a chance to get that big title one way or another. And that was amazing. And it was just, it was cool to have that fight with him. And we ended up having a cage match for the title. And I said, I came up with this idea. I go, only Kofi would be able to do this. So this is kind of cool. What if we do a thing where I hit you with, I don't know, 2 finishes or a chair or something against the wall, and you're in the back corner of the cage, and I just, as a bad guy, just slink all the way out, crawl out, and as I'm on my hands before I'm 3/4 of the way out and my legs are just coming out, you dive out over the top of me and land and like hurt yourself on the floor, but you protect that title. I was like, no, if I was working Cena, we can't do that. Roman, no fucking way. It's like, Kofi's the guy, and there's like even a gif. It's like me crawling, and I'm like just pulling my body out, and he flies over me like through the middle of the road out to the floor.
That's so cool.
And it's such a cool thing, and only Kofi could have pulled it off, and he did it beautifully. And it was like, I knew I wasn't winning, but you wanted to hear when you get there, like, hey, maybe I got a chance. Like, no, and it's like, okay, I have possibly the coolest way to end this, and it worked out. So that was fun.
Because like that first promo that you did on that SmackDown, because your mic skills have just been, it's unparalleled. I'm gonna say you're like one of the unparalleled guys on the mic, but for the crowd to say what and hearing that, and you hear them turn, and then at the end of that promo, Kofi broke out. That must have been crazy. Like they despise you to the point where like they respect you, but they're still gonna root for Kofi on that very first promo with "It Should Be Me."
You get to a point when you have so much, you're grandfathered in so much because of your body of work and everything you've done. And the fans, whether they know the real story or not, they're like, this guy is always here. This guy is always almost getting that big win. He's never, no matter what he says online, phoning it in. He like leaves it all out there. And at a certain point, even if you turn on everybody, tell them to go to hell, you all suck, you're getting cheered. And that is a pretty cool spot to be in, because you can switch it around or not. And really, really quickly, I'll try and tell this really quickly. As per usual, they said me, Kofi, Sheamus, Miz, almost would always do these PR tours if we're going overseas somewhere. And it was WrestleMania week, and we were finally getting a couple days off after Mania, after all the media. And they said, instead of going home, we're sending you to Turkey. And I said, okay, great.
That's random.
And then instead of going home, like everyone gets 6 days off for the first time this year. Okay, it's fine. So they sent me to do PR, and I did 3 nights in Bucharest, Romania, which was beautiful and awesome, and 2 or 3 nights in Istanbul, Turkey. And because the ticket sales weren't as hot as everywhere else. And then I come home. We find out a month later, I think it's Volcano or something. We canceled the show. We're not going to the shows that I just did the PR. I'm like, man, I could have went home for after WrestleMania week, had a couple days off. Would have been great. But we reschedule it for like 8 months or 10 months or a year later. we haven't been there in 12 years or something. So all they have is last year, the bad guy was there doing all the media, taking all the pictures and all that stuff.
I see.
So I'm the opening match. It's me versus Loki. And he comes out, I think Baby's come out first. He comes out, I come out, the roof blows off. Blows off. I'm a bad guy, not in a great spot. I'm in the middle of the card, kind of losing every night. Blows the roof off. And I'm like, whoa, this is great. There are signs everywhere for me. This is not someone going who's a known braggart, just like, yeah, I was really over here. This is the only time I tell this story. Or this is the only time that this event actually happened. And I look, there are signs everywhere. Dolph rules, this is the best, because I was the only guy that they had seen in 10 years. But I had forgotten that I did the PR a year earlier.
Right.
So it's like rattling the rafters, signs everywhere. I'm laughing. I go, what is this? And so I have a mostly prepared, half improvised match with Loki, and I go, I'm going to see if I can change him. I get on the mic, I insult him. Cheers. I get up in the corner, give him thumbs down, get a USA chant. Cheers. I go, all right, kid, I'm going to try one more time. So I get out there. I'm like, this place sucks. You're all losers.
They still cheered for you.
And I go, I was trying it. I tried that highbrow stuff. So I tried the lowest of the low, and it just was generic. You guys suck. And I go, all right, they know me. They don't know him. Okay. I go, hey, kid, we're changing it around. And I was planning on being the bad guy. I go, I'm the good guy. And I very much do not have a lot of offense or fun good guy stuff at that point. So in my big comeback, I stop him and I just do this big Jerry Lawler arm windmill. And I just do it for like 30 seconds and get him all fired up and did a big punch. And he went down and the place thought it was the end of the match. I jump on top. I'm like, make it close, make it close. 1, 2, barely kicks out. They go, oh. And I go, this is the greatest day of my life. Absolute blast. So fun. We switched it on the fly and talked to each other. So that was kind of cool. And just switch that around. Like there are moments like that when you're so grandfathered in that sometimes they're going to cheer you just because they know you. Or you did a PR tour the year before and they forgot that they sent you. Either way, win-win.
Also, Slammiversary happened. It happened by the time we're recording this. And before we'll delve into your ladder match, because oftentimes, we have Mount Rushmores of TNA talent. We can say AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Moose, or Joe Henry. But I'll do it this way. What are the underdogs that are the Mount Rushmores of TNA?
First one that pops in my head when I was doing media 6-8 months ago when I was the world champ is Frankie Kazarian. And he was somewhat like, him and Bobby Roode, just because I knew Bobby because we worked together eventually. 18 years in, we finally worked together. But it was, I just remember Tommy Dreamer telling Roode that he was the me of TNA, and Tommy Dreamer working with us telling me I was the Roode of WWE. It was like the guy that they could always rely on, and always be right there just out of the world title just in case they needed somebody. And no matter what, it would, deliver. And then I was someone who was so focused on WWE that I would barely watch TNA or outside stuff, a little bit of Japanese stuff, a little bit of TNA stuff, but mostly just whatever I was doing. And then I got around to watching. I was like, man, Kurt Angle is my absolute hero. And I probably wouldn't even have had a tryout if he had not kicked so much ass so quickly. So him being my hero anyway, and then transitioning to pro wrestling and then being so good so quick, a guy who's 5'11", 190 pounds, who's not a legacy, doesn't just get to get a shot at a job. And in the world at the time when it was like there was a 6'2" minimum a lot of the time when people were trying out, like you wouldn't even get a shot some years. So having that because he did so well, me having a chance, like he was already my hero, but like he's the baddest ass dude ever. So I put him on there. And you forget, if you're just a WWE fan, you don't realize he worked in TNA longer than he worked in WWE, which when I found out, I was mind blown. Like him, Samoa Joe, AJ, Frankie, and there's a million that I'm forgetting. But the camaraderie now, Frankie and EY holding that place together when I first got there, I was like, they were like the locker room leader guys who get things done. And immediately I was like, oh yeah, you guys know the role that you've just taken, and it's like the respect is there from everyone else for them.
Okay, because like so it's Frankie. It's who was on that list? What else did you? I only had
Frankie,
I only caught
Eric
who
Young,
were the
Robert
other
Roode,
and Kurt Angle.
Yeah, and I wonder if Kirk for sure. And I'm trying to think. I would like to put Gail Kim on there also because I know how long
yes,
worked
okay,
there, and she was yeah. And I was like, one, you need one or two women, obviously, but also I was like, Gail's a killer,
yep,
and as much as I'm a fan, one time Ric Flair, who was a good friend of mine, said something out of nowhere, was like something, and you'll be the best damn worker there, other than Gail Kim, and I was like, Ric Flair putting over, and I immediately texted Gail, Gail, just so you know, Ric Flair thinks you're a badass worker. And like, not that you're not, but it's just, there's so much negativity when something positive happens. I want someone to know. And I was like, because I think you're a badass killer. I think you rule as a person and in the ring. But Rick went out of his way unprompted to let me know. And I was like, you should know that he thinks you're awesome. So very rarely do legends put us over unless they're supposed to on NXT in a segment. Instead, they'll just be like, no one knows how to work. Everyone sucks. I was great. My generation got it. Everyone sucks. It goes too fast. And it's like, it's great to hear when I was like, Gail, man, I know you're a killer, but Rick thinks so too, which is pretty cool. So I'd say Rick.
She must have been shocked. Like, okay.
Yeah. Let's say, I would say Bobby Roode, Kurt Angle, Gail Kim, Kazarian. Samoa Joe?
That's the Rushmores right there. That's the four. I will put the honorary for Samoa Joe. So, of course,
honorary.
You have the heavyweight championship. Honorary. Exactly. So, having the heavyweight championship, and you've had your experience in having the championship picture, but for you to become one of the faces in TNA, and when the higher ups like, all right, you're going to be heavyweight champion. So Slammiversary happened this weekend by the time we record this. And of course, we're going to talk about your heavyweight championship run. And what was that like now that you're in title contention and being in that picture? What was that like for the higher up to say, all right, let's run this title. Let's go with it.
I watch it happen a lot with other people who were like with WWE for a long time. And then all of a sudden it's just like, they're the champ. And like, you watch people that were there a long time plugging along or waiting to their spot, and they kind of get overlooked. I've seen that happen before. And I said, listen, not only that, I said, I don't want to be anywhere near the world title for the first year unless something comes up and it's an emergency, or if the fans are begging for it, or creatively at all. I go, I don't want to be one of those guys. I'm going to be different. I go, I'm here to help. I'm here to get one more notch of people that know me from wrestling to come watch. But I go, I don't want to be one of those WWE guys who just steps in and it's like, well, time for the world title. Yeah. And I want to earn it. I go, I'm starting over here with my credibility behind me, but also I have it still. But I go, I want to re-earn the spot. And 7 or 8 months in, they're like, we need you to fight Moose for the world title. I'm like, okay. So I go, that's fine. And I lost. And I was just like, I didn't want to be there yet. I wanted something to be, well, if the fans are asking for it, cool, let's run with it. But if they're not, let me do my part while we still have someone else as the world champ. So we can have, here's this world champ doing media that kicks Moose, who kicks ass. He's an absolute team player, company guy, ass kicker. And I go, and you have this guy who racked up a couple world titles elsewhere and is here. So we could have and everybody else, obviously. But at the time, they said, we got to go with you. And I said, that's great. And then we got to a point where it was like, well, we're going to do something with Henry, but we're going to make him lose, start over, and scratch and claw to get it back, to let everybody know it's not just one of those 15 minutes of fame thing. Hey, this guy's got a cool video on YouTube and a lot of likes on TikTok, so we're just going to make him the champ. I love that we took a step back. He lost, went to the back of the line, and then earned his spot. So you have him, not only does he have the people that know him just from online and the likes and everybody talking about his music, and you have that audience. Now you have an audience that said, well, he wasn't that good at wrestling, but then you watch them, he earned his spot as he went to the back of the line, beat somebody else, came from behind here, got jumped here. And now it's like you have your Bruce Willis in Die Hard 1 where he's walking through the glass barefoot, and he has the hottest song. And if he shows up on NXT, they get 5 million views extra. So now it's a huge all put together. And then now the crowd could just feel it. And then they're there without knowing it. You don't know what's going to happen, but that crowd was there that night going, this is the night we crown Joe Henry champion. And it wasn't understood. I was like, hey, I'm not losing to this guy. No way. And it came down to it to where he does win the title and he gets it, and we get to put him in the Rumble, and he gets to show up later at WrestleMania. And at that point, it was great to go with it. It's so easy to hear a crowd and go, oh my God, we gotta pivot. It's one thing to go, I hear that crowd. Do you think if we took him down a few notches and then he scratched and clawed his way to the top, we could make that crowd 3 times as loud and then be behind him long term? Yes, I think we can. Let's go. And I was happy to be a part of that. I'm like, let's beat him down, make him earn it, and then give the big payoff. And what a really smart call. And that's you're rolling the dice. They might go, you know what? We liked him a couple months ago, but he didn't win the title, so we're so fickle, it's fizzled out from the fans. But they were right there ready to go, and that crowd was so hot. And I even added one more thing. No one's kicked out of his finish. I go, trust me, buddy. My job here is to make you look like the greatest wrestler of all time. I'm not here to stab you in the back. I'm kicking out of your finish. And he's like, and I go, trust me, you're going to kick out of mine, and then you're going to kick out of a triple version of mine, and they're going to blow the roof off, and then you're just going to hit your finish, and it's going to be layers. It's going to be, I'm telling you this, not as someone who wants to kick out of your finish. I'm not a mark. I'm a businessman that says, they're going to think we screwed you one last time and you're on your way to WWE. Let's get them one more time and then go home. And then we got him every step of the way. He gets his finish. I kick out and I go, yes.
You got the crowd.
They know the fix is in. They know he's screwed. JBL's going to show up and clothesline him, and I'm going to pin him. This is going to be and we turn it all back around. I walk in there. He hits his finish on me. The 1, 2, 3. His parents were there. Special moment for him, hopefully personally, but professionally also. And I was like, that is how you take people on a ride. Even when 98% of them knew he was winning, we took that one step back with 1 minute before and said, no, they took it away. And it's just that little roller coaster that a lot of people in the business don't understand. And that's why Tommy and Hunter and everyone in creative being behind that. Credit to Lance Storm, who's also my agent most of the time, who's the opposite of me and hates a lot of my ideas. We're opposites, but he's the greatest ever. And he's the driest book reading, not want to have fun guy in the entire world. And I love him for it. He's so good. And we're the opposites. So when I think something might work, he can tell me, no, idiot, this way. And once in a while, I go, hey, I was right. But most of the time he's right. And I love that because it's really easy 20 years and world titles to be like, you say something and someone might be afraid to tell you that it's dumb, or to be like, yeah, you just do whatever you want. Like, no. Does this suck? Is this crazy? Does it work? What do you think? I genuinely want to know. I don't want to have a good match. I want it to be the best one. And Lance, since I was brand new training in Ohio Valley Wrestling, he will tell me, well, actually, that's kind of stupid, don't you think? I'm like, oh, God, sorry, Lance. Yeah, okay, yeah.
He guilt tripped you?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, yes, sir, you're right. But how do we compromise it and not make it your nerdy thing or my cool thing, but we meet in the middle and have it be the awesome thing? And that, like, I'm so lucky. We're all lucky to have Lance there with us.
Yeah.
Which is so, like, dude, I hope he's there for another 20 years.
Oh my goodness. Cause like that match on its own, I was like on my seat the entire time. And it's like,
excellent.
When they kick, when Henry, when you kicked out on on this finish, I was like, what do you mean? Cause like the story, I was focusing on the storyline. I'm like, all right, he's been thrown into the wolves and doing all these things, but to kick out on that finisher, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going.
Lovely. Did you?
Yep.
JBL comes out, takes my brother's head off. It's great. I loved it. It was such a great time, and just being able to have that responsibility. And again, some gambles don't always work. Sometimes I say, "Hey, we're going to kick out of a finish," but again, that is not every pay-per-view. That's not every couple months. That is a one-time thing that just to get more excitement and more of an emotional ride. And that's what we're doing here. Like our job, especially when everyone knows tonight is Joe Hendry's night. Let's make them think one last time it's not. And then they weirdly, subconsciously, you jump up and react 10% more than you were going to on the original ending. And as long as you don't whore out finishes, that's the right time to do it right there. Once every couple of years, sure. Not every pay-per-view, not like those aren't finishers anymore, then they're just moves.
Working with your brother too, that was pretty cool, getting to tag belts with him. And
it's the coolest thing ever, man.
I'm curious because like and I always have guests who are part of tag teams, but to work with your brother, how different is that being in the tag team division and then winning the belts like down the line within the tag division and in TNA?
Well, a couple things. I'll say the business aspect first, because I am hardest on my friends and family for everything. People I don't care about, I don't care. Or people that I kind of care about, I'll give you an idea or my opinion, and I don't give a shit if you use it or not. But I am the hardest critiquer of myself and then my friends and family. So I said, hey, listen, I don't know if this is going to work, Ryan. If this works, we're not going to force it. I have been around and I have a name. And if we put us together and the magic isn't there or it's not working or no one cares or we don't have a good team, no continuity, and it's not really working, right. I go, I'm going to pull the plug on this because I don't want it to hurt the show or be one of those things like, oh, God, they're just forcing this together because Dolph wanted to do something with his brother and it's not working and they're forcing it. I don't ever want to be in that by myself or with a tag team. And Ryan, has so many other irons in the fire and so many other things to do, we immediately had the interaction and camaraderie that we've had in the past making videos, doing comedy shows, making little movies, improv, everything that translated to the ring. And I said, after 2 weeks, I was like, shit, this could work. Without like this works. And they like me and they hate Ryan. This is perfect. Like we could work together as a team and he could slowly try and pull me to the dark side and the crowd's booing him, but cheering me, but hating the team. And it was such a fun thing. It wasn't just like Ryan's here. So we're both good guys or both bad guys. He turned me to the dark side by cheating and then pulled me to the side and then we became bad guys together and then we're just on the same page and it worked. And I really appreciate Creative and Tommy and Hunter and Ariel and everyone giving us a chance to do it. Because I'm very adamant. I am always like, if I'm not doing good, I don't want to be forced. And, and this, it worked out. It was so, and now to the personal part, fun as hell. Greatest thing ever. We were in the same company for a year or two and we couldn't do anything. And we had one interaction at a live event for NXT before it was what it is now. And, we had a couple seconds in the ring and I got to say I picked my part. Big E's my real brother. You're not, or something like that. And we fought each other. Something really fun like that. And then now we got to work together. And then, man, once you get into a groove, it's just like, you want to start or you go second? I'll start. Okay, I'll be back here with this. We'll do this. All right, hey, we'll just do this thing. You ready? And it's like you just become a well-oiled machine just from working on it. And that was an absolute blast. And then we got to become the champions. Ryan Nemeth, someone who hadn't wrestled for the last 8 years, pins Jeff Hardy in a tag team match against the Hardys.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, my God. Greatest thing ever. Yeah.
For 3 months, he walked around. Anytime someone was just like, well, what are you looking forward to this week for Impact? You go, just so you know, last month, Ryan Nemeth, pinned Jeff Hardy to win the tag team championship. And it's like, he said it every sentence. And I go, I'd be doing the same. It's like, oh, you beat Jeff Hardy in a ladder match? I would mention that for the rest of my life. Like, yeah, of course. We beat the Hardys as a tag team in a match. Oh my God. And the titles were on the line. Unreal. So he got to have that moment. He got the big pin because he was taking a lot of crap for us, taking a lot of pinfalls, jumping in the way of grenades.
Right.
And it was a big payoff. And he nailed it, did it great, and made the most of it talking about it afterwards, which was cool.
Which leads us to Sunday. And the four-way tag match. That one, I watched it last night. There's so many spots that I'm still trying to look, but to know that your titles are on the line, what was the motivation, and you know what the outcome of the match was, you're already there. To have that outcome, did that ever change? Like your perspective on how that match is? Okay.
No. And it's like, and the thing is, like, man, when it comes to those matches, I go, I love being in charge. I love being the general. I love calling the shots. But when it comes to the Hardys and a ladder match and like a tag ladder, I go, guys, what are we doing here? We'll follow your lead. Everybody's gonna have a moment to do their cool shit. But the Hardys, you guys put this on the map. If I got an idea and you say it's wrong or you got a different one, I am deferring to you always at this point. But we're going to make this the most believable thing where everybody has their moment. Everybody almost gets it. And then again, like that Joe Henry match, just when we get to this very cool moment, Jeff, being the most creative damn guy in the entire damn world, has this idea to have the ladder. Like, I wonder if I'm allowed to tell it. It's like he wanted to shoot a t-shirt cannon at the ceiling and to like trigger it and like maybe miss it once or twice or hit it and it goes and the ladder comes down because he shot it with a t-shirt gun. And I go, that's fucking amazing. Like that is so that's so out of the box that like I'm mad I didn't come up with it because it's only super creative genius Jeff Hardy would be like, well, why didn't I just like shoot a t-shirt gun that we do in between matches? I'm like, oh my God, that's genius. So that, and then we had a hope that the ladder would come down and not just get tangled up and stop halfway. So it was a very tricky situation, but it worked. So we get that. And I go, we're going to have all these guys jump. I go, AJ Francis doing a moonsault off the ladder, going through some ladders, all this stuff. And I go, we're going to be laying there. And I go, if this ladder comes all the way down, when Jeff hits a button, the place is going to blow the roof off once they realize what it is. And it was like all the people going through ladders, AJ Francis moonsaulting on all of us. He hits this button. This rope ladder falls down. You get this like 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Oh!
Time slowed. Time slowed down.
It's the greatest. It's so then like that could be the finish. And then he climbs up and the place blows the roof off. And you could have that and no one would be mad. They would go, that was awesome. But I go, how about we get one more little thing in there? Jeff's climbing up and we stop him. And then I'm going to climb up fast as hell and you stop me. And we get down to it. And then the Hardys, which started with us beating them for the tag titles, get one more badass Hardy driver through a chair on all of us, murder us. And now they do the hard work and grab the titles. And I believe it worked beautifully. And anything that they said for that match, I was like, oh, how about this? How about this? Always defer to them. Because as their specialty, they've been around a long time. They know the deal. And it was just making it one step better is just something that is a little bit of a lost art for people who didn't grow up 20, 30 years ago in the business with the old timers.
Yeah, because what's fascinating, too, is this is like the highest paid North American event in TNA history. You've experienced WrestleManias. You've experienced SummerSlams, Royal Rumbles, Survivor Series, all of these. But to have that same moniker of the highest paid event in TNA history, what was that like for you to be part of something big like Slammiversary?
As someone who pays attention to behind the scenes and, I've been around, so I have been there before when it comes to certain things. It's great to see, like, not just like, hey, I watched it like when I first got to TNA, except for a handful of special pay-per-view nights, there was 800 people, 900 people some nights. Yeah. And then I watched it become 2,000 and 3,000 and 4,000 and not 4,000 people that were like a Super Bowl audience. They're just like, we're kind of here, or my agent got me these tickets, or we papered the town and people just came in. It was like, I kept announcing to everyone, I go, from the pre-show to after the main event, hot ass crowd. Cause they're here to genuinely see TNA. It was really beautiful to see and to watch that rise myself, Hardy's, Henry, and the numbers kept going up. And I go, this is awesome. So to me, it's not just be like, hey, yeah, we have this huge numbers and I was in this cool ladder match. It's everything from the year before I got there into me being there and watching the pieces behind the scenes. Everybody wanted to be on the same page and go, how do we get some more people here? And we're in meetings, putting our hands up. What do we do here? Let's all live tweet when Impact's on Thursday. Let's get this going. Let's do this. Let's make a video for our T-shirt. Ryan and I did something that was just like an SNL sketch with Adam Sandler and Chris Farley putting over our T-shirts for a commercial we had, like with beautiful girls playing by Van Halen in the background, and we just like had fun with it. And we're all you're always going to have a couple of egos no matter where you go. And it's like, no, I'm trying to do my thing. And you're supposed to, it's your career.
Right.
You are yourself. Sometimes you got to say, hey, this is real to me and I'm not doing this. And to a fault, I have it the other way around, where I'm always like, let's be a team. Let's make it all work. But everybody in that locker room was like, how do we get this to a bigger stage? How do we get more people? What do we do? And it was an absolute, and it's not just the talent. It was behind the scenes, producers, brand new merch team, everything you can possibly do. Carlos came in and said, let's get to Slammiversary. Let's get 7,000 people in this. And everyone goes, all right, here's our goal for the next 6 months. Get these numbers up for Slammiversary. And just every time someone had anything, a 5-minute match, a promo, we were so excited going, this is going to get one more ticket sold. This is going to get one more subscription sold. And as a team, we all did that. And that's what makes it so beautiful. Not just the number, not me being in a cool match, the stuff that led up to it. That's what matters to me going, this is something that is not only sustainable, but with a better distribution on some other avenue, could slowly become the place to be over the next 10 years.
Because what's fascinating, it takes a village. That's what you sense. That's what I'm observing, is it takes a village to run a show that big.
And there's so many things you don't even realize just behind the scenes, like people running merchandise, people tweeting out what happened on the show just to get interactions, people who set up the chairs, people who got the tickets to the building, people long-term producing the creative that says, we're going to build for 6 months here. And everybody's going to want to see a new champion, even though that's the big show. But maybe, just maybe, we keep our story going and they'll come back. So now we had that goal to get to Slammiversary. Now the next goal is, how do we get ready to go for Bound for Glory and make that the biggest one? What do we do next? And it's just been a team effort all the way through. And there are so many, even someone like me who's been around, and I would go to the truck sometimes. I'd be behind the scenes. I'd get the numbers for merchandise. I want to know the quarter hours, all these different aspects of the business. Watching everybody fight and like applaud, like every once in a while in WWE, there'd be like an Attitude Era guy would come back and do something. And sometimes it was really good. And sometimes you're like, they got through it and it was fine. And then everybody in Gorilla just clapping like seals, because either you're showing respect or it's just like, thank you for doing that. That's fine. There are so many times now when just the X Division match on the show has 90% of the roster applauding when they come back. Whether they're mad that they're not on the show, whether I'm the next match, any of that stuff. Like, it is such a team effort, and it's beautiful to watch. And I think it's only going to get better, because now it's set where everyone was kind of rooting for us, I think, with us. And now we got to that point. Now we got to set another goal for Bound for Glory. And I really think it's going to start turning the internet against us, because we're getting not too successful. But now it's time to cheer against us, just because that's what they do.
See something.
You root for this one guy to become champion, and he does. He's like, oh, this run sucks. You're like, dude, you're 2 weeks in. What are you talking? Like, it's just, that's it. That will be the sign that says we're on the right page, that we're starting to make it. If everybody starts turning, I'd say, like, you know what, I don't get it. Like, it's beautiful. The camaraderie is still there, and now we have a new goal. Bust our ass and make Bound for Glory the best damn show it can be. And then after that, we'll have another goal. And it's just, we keep going. Carlos leading the way, Tommy and Hunter with creative. Behind the scenes, it's just like, it is, anytime I get a call from Ross, hey, can you do this interview? I'm like, well, I'm flying. I guess if I switch my flight and do this here, and when I land, I got to do Busted Open, but I'll just keep my iPad plugged in. If you give me 20 minutes, I'll get the juice back up on it. And like, anytime that comes up, I go, yes, I'll be there. Can you be in New York tomorrow? I'm like, well, I was going to visit my family and take them out to dinner, but yes, I'll be in New York tomorrow. I'll do the Islanders game and promote anything. And it's not just me. I'm just doing my experience. Everybody else was doing that too, which was really team effort is easy to say. We did it for real.
Yeah, because we're going from somewhere big, from the 7,800 at UBS Arena to now in the Indies. And I want to say thanks to you because the Galvins and GCWA have been really tearing it up in Corpus. And going into at least being in the Indies and Texas, you know how big the space is for independent wrestling. What was the experience like going from something that is the big TNAs of the world to a hotel in Corpus Christi?
Well, like the really cool thing to me, I thought I might start, doing some independents here and there that I don't know. Would I go, 50 people, or I'm on an ice rink, or it just seems like a birthday party? Like I hope I still have that mentality that I had a few years ago when I told everybody I'm the best damn thing that there is. And when it comes down to any kind of show like that, like this one will be me and Joe Alonzo, and we've done a couple videos together because he was a fan of mine when he was a kid watching me, and now we're gonna fight each other. And it's so cool to see that interaction, like that you really do sometimes have an effect on people's life, which is really crazy to me. It's still crazy, but he's like, he was a fan of yours. I did your stuff. I did this. I wore your shirt. Like, cool, let's go fight. But I get to a point now where one of the first times I left WWE, I had the show and it was in the middle of nowhere and I didn't know. I'm like, oh, is it going to be like 2,000, 3,000? I'm used to 20,000. We'll see. And it was like 250 people on an ice rink. And I was like, okay, this is it. And I didn't go, oh my God, 250 people, but I did go, well, what they're paying me, I hope we can get everybody. Like, I hope everybody, they're going to get everything from me no matter what, whether it's 81,000 at WrestleMania or 81 people at an Elks Lodge. I'm here it's fun to say the money. I'm not here for the money. I have this thing to where I have to give everything and leave it out there because it's hard enough for me to sleep at night as it is. So I have to give it all. So it makes me feel that much better. I wanted to make sure I still had it. And I did that show. We tore it down, beat the hell out of each other, gave them everything, took them on a ride. And I go, okay, I just wanted to make sure that I had the integrity that whether it's 80 people or 80,000, you're going to get the match and everything that I do, that I'm famous for leaving everything out there. You're going to get it.
Right. Oh, so Joe Alonzo I saw him at, it was another show here in Texas, but it's reminiscent of like MJF and CM Punk and Daniel Bryan or Sammy Guevara meeting Shelton Benjamin in AEW. It must have been disorienting to say that, and you mentioned in the prior question, it must have been disorienting to see a fan of yours to now working with you in a match in Danger Zone with GCWA.
It's funny, and because there's so many, and there's Brittany Brooks, another one. We were both in Arizona. She used to come to these shows, and I have pictures of her at like 10 years old, like taking a picture. She goes, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. And her mom goes, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's great. Then at 15, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. Hey, it's 18, I'm training. Hey. And then like we were on a show together last year. And I go, this is mind blowing. Like there's so many people that come up to me and go, I'm going to be in the ring with you one day. And I go, you know what? Good luck, but you better hurry up because I'm at year 23 here. So let's pick up the pace. Yeah. But you never know when it's going to happen. And there's been a handful of like people I'm on a show with. They go, here's me when I was 8. I told you at this thing when you signed my shirt, and we're working the same show. Like it's crazy. So this is a one. And I got to talk to him a little bit, Joe Alonzo. He was doing some work with TNA a couple of weeks ago. Right. And I was like, man, I want to talk trash about him, but he's like a hardworking, good kid that like wants to do good. So I will, once that bell rings, I'm going to beat the shit out of him. But until then, he's a good kid
nice.
and he wants to do well. And like, I'm rooting for him. Just, he's not stepping on me to get where he's going, but, he will have a chance to be the second best wrestler in the world when he's out there with me. So that'll be nice.
Right. Right. Cause it's fascinating how like, I think you've worked Corpus before GCWA. I think you had TWC, I believe.
I've worked Corpus a few times. I'm not exactly sure with who, but
yeah. Cause I'm curious too. Cause I'm curious. Cause like, I'm sure production and all this other stuff happens. The crowds, especially on an indie show. What was that like to see the crowd with the small amount of crowds that are fans that are there to something that's big, you still have to give like 110% for every show, whether it's a small 50-person crowd or like 700-800 when you interact with the crowd.
No, you don't, first of all. But I said I have something inside me that won't allow, I don't even, it doesn't even come up. But but when you do see, like, I'll do my homework. I'm like, oh, there's 800 people out there and 650 of them are children, like 8-year-olds and lower. So I go, I'm going to change around some stuff at the beginning to where I can interact with them or steal an ice cream cone or drink their dad's beer or high five a little kid and bring him in the ring. Or like, that's what the parts that gets me going. When it gets down to time, and when it gets down to the hardcore part, the second half of the match where everything settles in and the story's set and now you start dropping bombs, that is not going to change. Whether it is an 8-year-old's birthday party in a backyard or 80,000 people at the Tokyo Dome. It doesn't matter to me. I have to do this and I want to do this. And one day, and there are people out there that'll be like, I thought there'd be like 5,000 here. You know, there's like 2,300. I guess I'm going to do a different match. I'm just going to do this thing. We'll do a test of strength. And it's like, not with me. You could phone in your match and that happens and they might not even notice, but I can't. I have a reputation that I want to have this legacy that when I leave professional wrestling, I left it better than it was without me because of the work that I put in. I can't have it any other way.
Wow. That's pretty cool. So we're going to be close to wrapping up. I will say the details of the show. If you're listening on this podcast, if you're watching, it will be Danger Zone with Hybrid School of Wrestling. One of the matches, of course, is a singles match between Nic and Joe Alonzo. It will be at the Holiday Inn Downtown Marina in Corpus Christi. It will be on Saturday, July 26th. Doors will open at 6:30 and bell time will be 7. So we'll end our conversation with this. And I tend to do advice to your younger self, but I'll do something a bit different. So if your younger self could spend a day with you now, what do you think they'd feel?
The weirdest thing, my dad took me to a wrestling WWF show when I was 5, legit 5, not like, 5. And I was at 8 or 10. I was 5 and he took me to a show and here's all I remember. It was a cage match, the British Bulldogs versus the Hart Foundation. And then the main event was Hulk Hogan versus King Harley Race. And people born in the 2000s don't realize back then it was just a black curtain and probably Pat Patterson playing a record or a tape player for some people got music and some people didn't. It was just, there was no Trons everywhere. There was no fun interaction, t-shirt gun between stuff and tickets and raffles. Like it was just, here's these matches on a live event on a Sunday in Richfield Coliseum. I lived in Cleveland. We didn't even have arena. We'd have a drive out 45 minutes to Richfield. So that show happened. And I told my dad, I go, I want to be a professional wrestler. I want to do this. And he goes, okay, I'll sign you up for wrestling. So I had a weird birthday. So end of July. So I was 5 years old in first grade, not kindergarten. And wrestling started maybe a month and a half later. And I started in wrestling. I got in there and he goes, no joke. I tell this, I try and use it as a joke for stand-up sometimes. I walked into the gym and I said, where's the ropes? Where's the ring? I'm like, this sucks. And my dad's like, no. This is different. If you get good at this and stick with it, he was probably just telling me that to stick with some kind of sport, then maybe you can get to professional wrestling and you move up to that. And I was like, all right. So that was, all 5 years old. A bunch of my friends were doing it. We all had fun. It was 1 or 2 days a week. No big deal. Then it became the camps during summer. And I went to St. Ed's, absolute powerhouse, 2-time national champions while I was there for 4 years. Not state champions, 4-time state champs. National friggin' champions. Bunch of ringers, friggin' badass dudes that went on to Big Ten and became coaches and Hall of Famers and national champions, Olympians, MMA dudes, unreal and absolute ass kickers. And like that made me so much better to when you got to take that same attitude of not many people are going to come to your high school wrestling matches. Although a lot of times you go to a tournament, there's 5 or 6 people in the crowd, whatever, but St. Ed's ass kicking place that they were, we would fill up a gym like a college basketball game with. So it was nice to have that crowd. I went to Kent State and I walked on there and then we had like 20 people in the crowd. I was like, man, this really like, there's no crowd. I wanted that like professional wrestling aspect of it. And I actually, my junior year, got us 1 minute music entrances for each match.
Whoa!
And looking back now, it was violating Division I something. But at the time, and the 157 pounder was my buddy, and we both loved WWF, and we are going to get a tryout after we're done with school. 157 pounder Mike Tolar, and he came out to Rob Van Dam's music from ECW, which is that Pantera walk. And then I got 1 minute to just sit there and warm up and like slap yourself and everyone had to watch you. So even though there was like only 40 people there, like I made it seem like professional wrestling and then got into it. And then, I usually won. I won like 95% of the time. So Division I, no big deal.
Okay.
All-time winningest Kent State wrestler, whatever. I forget what the question was, but I'm so locked in that I just every step of the way. I can clarify that
for you. So like,
yeah,
because like, how did it make? So if you hang out with your younger you, and you spend a day with, what did that?
The younger me. So then I go through all that and watch it. I never, even though I was like, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna do it. I never thought I would do 20 years in WWE, be 2-time world heavyweight champion. I knew guys like me. I go, at best, I might get an intercontinental title match at some point. But I know if I work harder than everybody else, they'll keep me around. I know. And that was when I was like 15, 20. And somehow I made it every step of the way. Sometimes I watch all my tag team partners get fired or let go or hurt or quit and watch everything happen. And I go, I'm sticking with this one way or another. Sometimes to a fault to do anything. But sometimes I got to get the payoffs of becoming. I was told by the boss to my face, you will never be world champion here. And then I became world champion. So no matter what you hear from anybody, from people online, bosses, whoever's in charge right now, you never know what can change. I was told I would never be world champ, and I made it happen.
All right, cool. So I have nothing left to give. You have the floor. Saturday's happening. Hype us up on the show and give a nice parting word for Joe Alonzo.
Well, I'm really trying to be nice here. Joe Alonzo, great kid. I've done some homework, great work ethic, really tries hard. He wants to get back. He's in a similar situation that I was in when I was a little bit younger. Mm-hmm. And I looked up to people like Ric Flair or Mr. Perfect. And I was like, man, I want to be just like those guys. But when I was a kid, I didn't get to tell them. He got to tell me. And now I'm in his head. Now I'm going to own him. Now I'm going to do anything I want in front of him. And he's going to sit there and he's going to, in between applauding for me, get kicked in the face. So what I want everyone to do is, I know you might not be rooting for him. You're probably rooting for me because I'm much more famous than him. And I totally understand. And I always will be. But what I want him to do is give his absolute best. So when my hand gets raised and everybody realizes how damn good I am still, then I'll be like, kid, you tried really hard. So you're going to get some kind of whatever, 2025. I was there technically. You get a little medal that says I was a participant. I was for 22 minutes. I was the second best wrestler in the world. All this great stuff. The show's going to rock. I give 110%. I know Alonzo wants to give everything he's got, and he will. And that's what's going to make this match the baddest ass thing on the card. And then we'll take it home.
And we have some other matches. Ticket information will be on the show notes. I will say this one last time. If you do show up, I mean, Nic Nemeth is here. How could you not get a ticket when he's there? So he's the draw. He's the draw on this entire show. So it will be on the show notes provided on the episode.
Joe's got something to prove to me that he can hang with me. I got to prove to the kid that he's got a long way to go. We're going to butt heads, beat the hell out of each other. We're going to try and outdo each other. How can you have a bigger match than that?
There we go. Whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be on to the next one.